My Elton John hair is in full effect. Right, I've just changed it. Right, sorry. Hello. I'm still here, Amy. Yeah, I'll just stay where I am. This doesn't look too bad, does it? This from this angle, yeah.
It's fine.
Okay.
I have all this.
Hello, Amy. Hello, America and the world.
Hello, everyone.
And the universe, of course. Hello.
Amy and Jamie. Yeah, I've got all this weird light behind me. It's weird because it's actually kind of it's dark and it might snow tomorrow, so we have all that gray
right.
skies, not that much light. I don't know why it's so bright back there, but anyway.
Oh, that is bright, yeah. Oh, that's quite monolithic coming through the window there, Amy. Yeah, could be a good sign.
Yeah. We have Coco, who has to be. She's the real reason.
Hello, Coco. Hello, Coco.
Hello.
Hello. No, she's really gonna. Even when I meet her in person, she'll probably ignore me as well. Just
she's very particular.
If I meet her in person, that is.
It's her tail.
Yeah.
And a mustache.
Hello. Good. You look like Groucho for a second. I meant that as a compliment. That sounded terrible. My apologies.
Oh, it's fine. I do that every once in a while. I take her tail and I'm like, got a mustache. Well, anyway, what was I going to say? You've seen the one with Lucille Ball where she plays Harpo Marx, right? No, Harpo. It's not Marx, right? Well, he's a Marx Brothers, so he is a Marx.
No, it's Groucho. Yeah, it's Copacabana. That was Copacabana. That film, yeah. That was really good. That. Oh no, you mean the episode? Sorry, you mean the episode of I Love Lucy with Harpo in?
Yeah, was she the mirror thing, and he plays his
heart. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, do you know? Is a little fact for you now. Sorry, my nose is running. I haven't taken cocaine. I apologize. Honestly, yeah, you know that there's the film Duck Soup with the Marx Brothers in. There's a little film fact for you now.
Yeah.
You know the scene where there's two Grouchos. Well, it's Harpo dressed up as Groucho, and supposedly Groucho. Actually, one of them wasn't Groucho; it was Gummo. It was the only appearance Gummo ever made on a film because Groucho was ill that day, so he doubled up for him.
Wow.
Useless trivia straight away here, Amy. My apologies, but I just thought I'd mention it. You know.
So why did they do that? You know.
What was that? Sorry.
Did they do that just to mess with the audience, or just like a little sort of Easter egg?
No, he was ill because he was ill because his stocks and shares had crashed that week, and he went into a depression, and he refused to, because he was notoriously thrifty and tight. I don't know whether they use the word tight in America, but people who aren't like kind of generous with money, because he Groucho built up quite a substantial earning, and then he lost it all in the Wall Street crash. In fact, he bought a lot of Chaplin stocks and shares. So Chaplin sold everything the week before the Wall Street crash, and Groucho thought he was onto a good thing buying Chaplin stocks and shares. And then the Wall Street crash happened the next week, and it wiped him out. So for the rest of his life, he was paranoid when it came to money and financial ruin, which he thought was around the corner all the time. And you know the story about. Sorry, is this too much trivia too early, Amy, to bring this up?
No.
Buster Keaton ended up as a screenwriter for the Marx Brothers. He worked on. Hello, Coco. Sorry. Oh, that is very Groucho the way she's in the background there. Maybe she's channeling him, Amy. But yeah, Buster Keaton ended in
my head.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah. She could if she had a cigar. Actually, that would. Yeah. So Buster Keaton ended up working as a screenwriter for the Marx Brothers on two films, At the Circus and The Marx Brothers Go West, and Groucho wouldn't speak to him, and people thought he was being snobby. Oh. Yeah, I'm watching this with interest just to see where it goes. I don't want it to fall, obviously. Yeah,
she's sniffing my head and my neck, and yeah, she's being lovey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's definitely like a starlet, you know, that kind of. She likes the allure of the camera and stuff like that.
Oh, look at her.
Oh, that is really cute. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I on this angle? There's something not right. Hang on. hang on a minute. Sorry, I just ruined it. Made it completely worse there. Now I look like I've been beheaded or something. Sorry, Amy, I'll be with you in a second. There we go. I'll move up a bit. There we go. So I was just saying, just to finish the story off, so there's no loose ends. So Groucho was uncomfortable around Buster Keaton, and Buster Keaton took it personally. And later on in his book, Groucho revealed what it was. It was because, and it was very generous what he said. He said he considered Buster Keaton to be better than him as an artist, and yet he'd lost everything. And the thought that could happen to Groucho terrified him, and he literally couldn't talk to the man, because every time he saw him, he said, "This man is a genius. He's a god, and why is he working for me? It should be the other way around. I should be working for him. I should be doing like small parts in his films." Groucho was kind of. So I just thought to mention that. It just shows that even geniuses can have kind of doubts about themselves, and they can have, like they're not spared from personal demons and stuff like that. I
think a lot of people are self-depreciating, but those people seem to be, as much as they're tortured, and also the funniest people usually have like depression or whatever. They know, it's like where they draw it from. I guess to laugh is an elevation from that, but a lot of people who are artists, they're self-depreciating, and they have idols too. I mean, stars are stars because we look up, right? So we have people that we look up to and sort of absorb and learn. And even like Bob Dylan, I remember one of his songs where he talked about Neil Young, and I thought that was so fascinating because, he idolized. Like he said, Paul McCartney, he idolized Paul McCartney, which I thought was fascinating. Because you think he was like a blues player or, like a Woody Guthrie, but he said, So go ahead.
McCartney, yeah. Well, it's like, didn't Harry Nilsson hate the Beatles at first? Then he realised, actually, they're better than anyone else around. So he went completely the other way. Even if there was a song he didn't like, he would tell everyone, "Oh no, this is better than anything in the charts now." And he convinced himself to become a fan, and then became a fan. And then there was kind of like weird parallels between the Beatles and Harry Nilsson and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
It's like Michael Crawford said about the Phantom of the Opera. Someone said to him, "Has there been any? This has changed your life," because Michael Crawford in Britain at the time, he'd done a character called Frank Spencer, and some others do haven't, which is this kind of. I suppose it was kind of like his Mr. Bean. He was associated with that, and even though he had this kind of supreme talent, he wasn't getting. He was typecast essentially, even though he'd been to Hollywood previously. And then he had success later in life with Phantom of the Opera, which put him right at the top of the performing live performance circuit. And I remember Larry King said to him, "Is there ever been any negative aspect of this?" And he said, "The only negative thing is that he couldn't walk in and see the show himself.
Yeah.
Either with him playing the Phantom or when someone else was playing it, because essentially they were playing him, because he originated." Anything you see still today is practically, it's 90% Michael Crawford. I know the others inject 10% into it and stuff, but I just thought that was interesting. Everything has its kind of negative side, doesn't it? Like something like that can bring you wealth, but you can never actually go and see it yourself if you're performing it.
Yeah, you can't experience it. It's kind of like the whole theory of you read a book and it's your favorite book, and then you can never experience it again because you've already read it. Like you've already, like, kind of sad. You wish you could erase it from your brain. I suppose that's the joys of Alzheimer's. Sorry, that was a terrible thing to say. I'd take that back. There's no joys with that disease. My apologies, Amy. No. Have you ever seen it's not called Alfie. We know the movie Alfie with Michael Caine. And I think they redid it with Jude Law.
Yeah.
But what's the movie? Do you remember that? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I did the stage play of Alfie in 2008.
Oh, nice.
I was still the Philharmonic. But it was more of a musical then. It had got away from the original. I would have preferred to have done the original. Sorry, I'm a terrible kind of what's the word, like lovey type, like, oh, I was in that, that, like, everything. I don't mean to be like that. Everything you mentioned. Well, actually, I was in that myself, But I was in it. I would have preferred to have been in the original text other than the kind of the more modern musical type thing. But I would have preferred to have done it with 60s music, is what I'm saying, and the John Barry score rather than was it John Barry? Oh no, it was Burt Bacharach, wasn't it? He did the music of the first.
Oh, probably, yeah, I bet it was.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Sorry, I interrupted you with what you were saying there, Amy, about Alfie. Can you?
And hi, Fatima.
Hello, Fatima.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Happy Thanksgiving. Or yesterday.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Well, okay. That's ironic. I can't remember the name, but it was before any of our time. But it was that '60s movie where the guy was given a drug that made him smart, and then
yeah, Charlie.
Charlie. Oh, okay.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Cliff Robertson won the Oscar. Yeah.
It's like that. Yeah. You read a book and then I'm brilliant, and then you lose everything.
Can I just interject with this, Amy? I don't mean to keep doing this. I was actually in Flowers for Algernon as well, which was the book with what Charlie was based on. I know I'm becoming a really boring. I'll stop it now, I promise. It's just strange that you're bringing these things up, Amy. Yeah, we don't. That drew no one. No one wanted to see that for some reason. We opened on the Monday, we closed on the Friday.
Oh wow! Was it a musical?
We got good. No, this is it was a straight play without musical and without music numbers, and we got good reviews for that. And people saying you better get ready to take this to the provincial towns like London and Manchester and Birmingham and stuff. And people, it's always a kiss of death in theatre. People saying, like, well, I best start looking for places around Liverpool, like to live and stuff like that, and because we're going to be here a long time. And it closed after like 7. It didn't affect me because I live in Liverpool, but like when the actors from Scotland, and that and stuff. I'm trying to put like a smile on. Like it's devastating when that happens, but it happens,
Well, what's that phrase? I know the phrase.
I promise, if I'm in the next thing you mentioned, sorry, Amy, I'm just saying, if I'm in the next thing you mentioned, I won't bring it up. Okay, I promise.
No, it's fine. I think it's fascinating. I'm glad that you need to do more. Like we talked about, you need to do some Shakespeare. I think that would be really, really cool to see you in that. Yeah. I could totally see you doing it too.
Well, thanks. I'd like to go back. I mean, I've done Shakespeare, but it was always like I don't know what it's like in America, but in Britain, you very rarely go to. Once you start acting, there's like a sort of hierarchy, and you have to sort of work your way up and stuff like that. So if you start at the level that I started as an actor, I was getting like sort of like the junior parts, then the romantic parts, and then they trust you with sort of like the clown parts and stuff like Malvolio and Twelfth Night and whatnot, and eventually you've been doing it so long that they say, well, he knows what he's doing, and you get put in thing. I think looking at it now, at the time, I kind of, as an actor, I thought, well, I could do the, I could play Hamlet, which I probably couldn't have done it. It probably would have been farcical back 20 years ago. I've done it, but I think I'm better for it now, if you know what I mean. Like, I think the years have lent me more sort of kind of, Plus, I don't talk with this voice when I'm on stage. I sound different. This is just like, I wouldn't do it in this accent if I was going to do.
It's funny.
I'd obviously.
No, but I know that when you go on stage, you have to project, and also your, character, and that's something that's hard for me. I can do it, but I actually have a really sort of soft speaking voice, but like musically I can belt. It's like a weird thing. I don't know why there's a difference in that, but
yeah, I think I don't know about from your point. I think when you're singing, I think it's all about reaching a different kind of part of the audience's psyche. I think if you're singing, you really are going for the emotions, whereas it's got to be when you're acting, it's got to be more kind of, how can I say that, cerebral. You've got to, like, the audience hears a note that a singer does, and it's beautiful, they'll react straight away. But there's that 10-second delay. So when you're performing, you've got to give people. I did do a scene from Shakespeare once, and we did like someone had the dagger with a black glove holding it up, and I had to do that. Is this a dagger I see before me? And someone in the audience shouted out, "You should have got one on a string." Completely ruined the
Why do people do that?
So then I was stopping myself from laughing, which just completely ruined it. It looked like I was being disrespectful to her, but I thought it was quite funny what the person had said.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amy, I'm treating this like I'm on Larry King Live or something.
So,
we're not going live to Liverpool.
Do you remember in this first Superman movie?
Yes.
And they would, now in the old days, like they had not, the technology wasn't so great. Although Star Wars was out, right? It was out.
Yeah.
And that was the technology. But when they did the scenes on the moon, you could see the backdrop and you could see strings and things like that. And now it's really obvious HD and things like that. It's like, damn, that's so bad. Because we had to have those.
You could see you could actually see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Superman's cape would blow when he was standing on the moon.
I know, there's no wind on the moon.
I know, unless he broke wind himself with the power of the Man of Steel. Also he would talk in space, even as even as a kid. I think, hang on a minute, doesn't it? How's that actually working? Would it have been better if they'd sort of said, "Oh, he had the power; he could communicate beyond voice. He could project into people's." There's a scene in Superman 4. I don't know this story about Superman 4, but Superman 4 was basically Christopher Reeve was under pressure to make another Superman film for years, and he didn't want to do it because he felt the quality was dropping.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, you could argue that the first one was it's one of the great British American films of all time because it was a co-production, and he didn't want to lose the standard. But eventually, Canon Pictures got him back to. They convinced him to do it by letting him do another film, and a film of his choice. So they got him back to do it. But then they also bought the rights to Spider-Man the movie from Marvel and Masters of the Universe, He-Man, and what they did was they got 50 million to make Superman 4, and they just put the budget into those other two films. And Superman was allocated something like 8 million. And if you see the film, it's a tragedy. You can either watch it and laugh at it, or you can think this is tragic that this man who sort of, if a million other actors play Superman, none of them will ever be as good as Christopher Reeve. He just kind of personified everyone. Superman should look like he's come out of sort of collective consciousness, and I think he did. I think he looked like the fantasy image. Everyone has an idea of what Santa Claus looks like, for instance, or or Jesus, I suppose, that kind of thing. And it's the same with Superman. And I think Christopher Reeve is that personification. But that film was just. There's a scene of him where the Great Wall of China blows up, and they were supposed to film. They were supposed to film a scene where Superman at high speed put it all back together, but they didn't film it. So they had a shot of Superman waving, sort of like that, and they cut his hand out and they put laser beams from his eyes, and he was putting the wall back together and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like
Lincoln Logs.
Yeah, it's exactly. It looks like stop motion animation. Well, it is stop motion animation. Sorry, I'm showing me nerdishness here, Amy, but
I'll tell you something. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just I went to see for a second there. No, I was just saying. One of my favourite bit of acting is from Superman the movie. There's a scene where. Tell me if I'm boring you here. I don't mean to, but.
No, keep talking.
The scene where Superman confronts Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor for the first time. So for the first, and under wherever it Metropolis or 42nd Street, they look suspiciously like the same place. It's generic Americana, I suppose. But ironically, it was Pinewood Studios in London. But Hackman has played the part as a buffoon up until that point, and he's been funny. He's sort of kind of the villain that was in the Batman TV series, and he's been funny. He's not threatening. And Superman confronts him, and he says, "You're a diseased maniac, Luthor," like that, and I'm going to stop you, like that. And he tells him there's a detonator for a bomb hidden in the underground fortress. And Superman says, "Where is it?" Like that, and Luthor knows that Superman can't see through lead. So Superman notices the lead, and he says, "Do you think you could hide this? Do you think you could hide the detonator under lead from me? Do you think I'm that stupid?" So Superman opens the lead, and it's not a detonator; it's kryptonite.
Yeah.
Which then puts Superman on his knees. And look, Hackman's brilliant in it. He turns from the comedic buffoon, and he says, "You were good in your day, Superman, but when it came to cashing in your chips," he says, "This idiot, this fool, this diseased maniac." And he looks at, because Superman's just called him that, and he lets all this venom sort of in this one scene. And as the audience, you go, "Oh, actually, he was playing with the audience as well. He wasn't just playing with Superman. He was, he was." I'm from Liverpool, Fatima. I've just read the question there.
Yeah.
Fatima asked me the question, sorry, which part of England is Jamie from? Well, most parts of me are from England. But, sorry, that was a silly question, yeah. No, I'm from Liverpool, Fatima, yeah. Wonder where Fatima is from. Do you know, Amy, where she's from?
I think she's from America.
Oh, you know where she's from?
But I could be wrong.
Right.
Yeah, are you from America? I thought she was. Let us know.
Yeah, that's good. Sorry to ramble on about Superman there, Amy, but I could talk about sci-fi cinema. I am your typical nerd.
Well, let me say this. So I actually love Superman. I've written, I've had, he's shown up in a lot of stuff that I've written. And I actually like the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. That was my favorite one.
Oh, yeah, me too, yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. But actually really, for some, and as you know, we've talked about this, this second and third Superman were made by the guy Lester, right, who directed Hard Day's Night and helped with the Beatles. And also he did How I Won the War, which Michael Crawford was into. Yeah. And so he's a very particular.
Yeah, he actually directed. Yeah, he directed The Knack and How to Get It.
Oh, okay. Say that again.
Yeah, I just said Richard Lester directed The Knack and How to Get It with Michael Crawford. Okay. And then he directed The Funny Thing on the Way to the Forum with Michael Crawford, and then How I Won the War. So he actually had a long relationship with him because. But you're saying about Richard Lester directing Superman.
And well, like the second one, isn't it the second movie or the third? It's probably the third movie where they have the whole sequence on the street and there's like the wind-up penguins or whatever, and there's this whole sequence. Yeah. To me, it's very sort of Beatley help, and I love that whole sequence. Yeah,
it's brilliant. It's brilliantly done. It's actually people run it down because Richard Pryor was in it,
Yeah.
And It's funny because in that film, Superman becomes an alcoholic, and he's best friends with Richard Pryor. So it was always going to be bad news, wasn't it? When them two got together, there was always going to be something like that kind of happened. But it's like you can run it down as being a comedy, but the comedy itself in the film is actually really good. And then of course Superman turns evil in it as well.
Yes, I have to say. Okay, so I was really into it when my kids were little, and that whole thing where Superman with the dark suit Superman or black suit Superman or whatever. Yeah, it was dark. It wasn't black. It was dark, like dark blue, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then he's at the bar and he's bugging the bartender and throwing stuff, and then he pushes. He fixes the Leaning Tower of Pizza, and something. He's just like a total jerk, and then he has to fight himself. Clark Kent has to fight him. And I thought that was all, well done, and it's not great.
Yeah, it's
cinema, but it was
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's. I actually think that itself is like one of the best scenes in any superhero movie. Mm-hmm. The fight in the junkyard. It's interesting that all his powers are in Superman. All his powers in Superman, but all his goodness is in Clark Kent. Mm-hmm. Until Clark Kent realizes he is Superman, and of course it's not really happening. I know it's a film, but I mean, within the film, it's not really. It's all in his mind. It's all in Superman's mind. He's wrestling with his dark side, and the good side wins at the end. But that's as good as any scene in any superhero film. I think that's worth the admission. The rest of the film kind of sketchy. You've got Richard Pryor skiing off the Empire State Building with a pink cloth around his neck and landing on his feet.
Yeah,
exactly. That kind of. All right, I know what they're going with there, but yeah, it's underrated. I mean, I think at the time, Superman 3 was considered a bad movie until people seen Superman 4, and then they realised, no, actually, that was actually a bad movie. Sorry for going on about Superman 4. Just one second thing.
Okay. And
I have to adjust my nose. I really have. I'm really not on Class A drugs. Toronto, Canada. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, what's it like in Toronto, Canada, Fatima? I would like to visit Toronto one day. If you could tell us what it's like, that is.
For sure. For Portugal.
Yeah.
A lot different. I was watching. Go ahead.
No, kind of.
I was watching a show about the Catherine of Aragon. So that was very fascinating to watch. And the first wife of Henry VIII. I'm Henry
I played Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Yeah, so you were watching it. What one was you watching? Was it a documentary or a production about it?
It was probably the same people who made things like Downton Abbey. And it had that sort of feeling, but it was more dramatic, obviously. It's very dramatic. It was really good. It showed her strength. It showed... Yeah. And here's the thing. Like, she was like the only one he didn't have beheaded. He replaced her. He got annulled. He, did all that stuff. But I think he really loved her, even though he had issues. Let's just say he had issues. Anyway, she was a strong woman. I thought it was really fascinating. And she went through a lot because she had infant mortality in her family. However, he also had a blood, like a chromosome type of thing that would cause infant death. And so the whole pressure was on her, even to be a queen, to come down to just having to produce a male heir. And she did twice, and then they both died. And it was just so disappointing. It just, as a mother, how devastating that would be, but then also have your role completely erased and then have your husband hate you because you were worthless. It's all of that. But she got through it and then survived. She survived it. So
it just shows on some level his legacy was more important to him than the people he was in love with. Well, it was completely more important to him, because anyone else who loves someone who'd lost 2 children, I think it would deepen the love between those people. They'd say, because being through this together, they're the only 2 people in the universe who could go through that together. But then for it to be dismissed as, you're not good enough because you're not producing me, a hair, but it could just as easily have been his fault. In fact, it probably was his fault, it was given his physical condition, but of course, sexist kind of way in which the world sort of spun around in those days, it was sadly to say, women were looked upon as inferior lots of times by clearly inferior people who shouldn't have never have had that mentality, and it's just sad that existed. But what can I say? As feminists, we will do our way to shine a light and stop it from happening in the future.
Yeah. All right. So Fatima says that she, it's a very busy city in Toronto, very expensive to live in. The majority of the young generation buy homes outside. Oh, yeah. Well, that does happen, especially these days. It's really hard to live anywhere anymore.
What's primarily the language in Toronto? Is it French Canadian or is it English? I mean, I imagine it's English, but
aren't they?
I've often wondered about, we're I mean, Vancouver primarily is French Canadian, isn't it? That would be the big one, I think. Could be wrong there, but.
There's that show Just for Laughs is from Canada, and there's a lot of French. Have you seen the show? Yeah. I love that show. Yeah. One of my favorite ones is the one of the women, it's at a lake, And she says, "Oh, my bikini bottom fell, our top or whatever. My top fell off. Can you go get it?" And so these guys will go and jump in the water, and then have a fake shark. I just think that's and the reaction kills me. But yeah, that's stupid.
That's a very Benny Hill type premise. That that's the sort of thing that would happen on Benny Hill, except it would be his fault for the bikini bottoms coming off in the first place. He'd be under there with some kind of net or something,
Yeah, he'd be the one.
No.
Right.
Sorry, keep interrupting you, Amy. My apologies.
No, it's all right. I think it's just the time difference. No, she says majority English, Quebec, lots of French. That makes sense. Quebec, lots of French. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And is Trudeau still is Trudeau still the Prime Minister there? Prime Minister of Canada is it, or is the President of Canada?
Aren't they connected to England? I mean, isn't it part of like the royal?
Yeah. Go
ahead.
In fact, a lot of them. I'd say Canadians have possibly got more respect for the royal family than the English, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be anti-royalist. God forbid, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Me say something anti-royalist, but royal family have cost the British public a lot of money and have done very little for it, But I would definitely accept a knighthood if one was offered. It's only a matter of time.
You wouldn't return the medal, and
only if they wanted to enter Vietnam, or something like that. Yeah. Do you think John would have accepted the knighthood if he'd lived? Do you think he would have humbled and accepted it?
For a laugh. I'm getting for a laugh, perhaps. Why would I?
For a laugh?
Why would I? Why would I need it?
Yeah.
But
John, if you're listening, you would be representing every person from Liverpool if you accepted that. And also, if you sent the knighthood back, equally you would be representing everyone from Liverpool as well. So that would be a good reason. Right, I've just did Flash Gordon again. John likes to call me Flash Gordon for some reason, Amy. Perhaps you can ask him about that one for some reason. I don't quite know.
He likes to call you what?
He likes to call me Flash Gordon.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that. Yeah.
He's insulting me without actually insulting me, isn't he? Which is a wonderful compliment,
He's a master of the universe. So Fatima says we have a lot of respect for the royals, and you are right, Jamie. You are right.
There you go. Is that a good thing that I'm right about the royal family? You think? But yeah, people like in Canada are not. Well, Australia they seem to have some respect for the royal family and things like that, and
maybe the distance helps.
It just becomes like anything. You become anti-establishment after a certain. If you're not part of the establishment, that is, you become anti-establishment. I think, and I mean, it was terrible. I don't know whether you're aware of this, Amy, but in Britain for 40 years, the TV used to go off at 11:30 at night.
Oh, yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, and then the national anthem would be played, and people would stand up. I was in people's houses, and you'd have to stand up with them, and that sort of thing really turned you against the royal family, even though it wasn't them responsible for it. It was really infuriating to me when I was like 14. People say, "Hey, what are you doing sitting down? Stand up."
Yeah.
They're not going to see me standing up anyway. I'm not going to get arrested for not standing up during the national anthem at 11:30 at night. But I mean, that surprised me when I found out that the Tonight Show started at 11:30 every night, didn't it?
But depending what time
in America.
Zone. Yeah. So here in Central Time Zone, it was and still is, I believe, at 10:30, like 10:35, because at 10 o'clock we have the local news, and then 10:35 is kind of when, maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the Tonight Show. And then as soon as it was done, then the late night would come on. I don't know if they still have late night or not. I don't know. But anyway, that's big.
Yeah.
Now we have Jimmy Kimmel and all that stuff, on different channels.
In Ireland, they have a program called the Late Late Show.
I think we have that too.
That starts at 6:30 at night. So I don't know what time they're supposed to go to bed in Ireland, but if it's late at 6:30,
Wow.
Hello, Coco. Hello, Coco.
She's got itchy fur. You kiss her and then you itch all day. She doesn't care. Well, anyway, so yeah, okay. So here in America, we have, for a while, they would have, the TV would go off, broadcasting would go off around 12:30 a.m. or something like that. And so I think they would always play the national anthem and then beep, and you get that test signal, like that picture. Some channels would stay on all night with auto programming, movies, things like that. Now everything's on all the time, like nothing ever stops. However, if you wake up at 3 a.m., you will hear the national anthem every single night. So they still do that. They play it every single night. Yeah.
All right.
No one stands up.
So that's
No.
Are you meant to stand up to the national anthem in America, or? Well, suppose you are, aren't you? Silly question, really. But
put your hand on your heart, and of course, we stole the anthem. We stole the music and everything. Put your hand on your heart.
Yeah.
And take off your hat, and you should know the words. Okay, she says our money has Queen Elizabeth pictures on it. All the coins have the Queen, and the $20 bill has the Queen. I know that'll change. That's going to change out after a while, I'm sure, which is kind of sad. Like, who wants to see King Charles on their money? Like, nobody wants that. And don't you have the euro though? Go ahead.
If I had to choose, I'd pick Prince Charles over Prince Andrew.
Oh yeah. Well, isn't it King? He's
Let's
King
just King Charles. Yeah. Oh, I can't get into the habit of saying it. Yeah. Sorry. Prince Andrew. I think he's burnt any chance of respectability he has. But then again, he doesn't sweat. So that's really nice, though, that Canada still holds that tradition, of to England and that, and whatnot. Here's the other thing about what annoys me. I like the American national anthem because, the main reason I like the American national anthem is because it's about America and American people. Our national anthem is about the King. It's not actually about England. It's God save the King.
Yeah.
So England can perish, but as long as the King is okay, see what I mean? It's kind of, it should probably Land of Hope and Glory or something, one of those, But also, the national anthem is very racist anyway. The lyrics, because one of the verses says, "We'll save the kingdom with a rush, rebellious Scots to crush."
See, that's, I don't know if you watched Outlander. I liked Outlander. Maybe that's because of my whole Queen Mary thing. I don't know. And I didn't care, like, the sex stuff, the war stuff. It was all, they just showed everything. So when people say there's all the sex in it, it's like, I don't care about that. They just showed everything. They showed the war. They showed birth. They showed death. They showed everything. So I really liked the show because as close as they could get, I thought it was a good historical show and elements of drama and romance and all that stuff. But they did not make Irish people look good in that show. And they didn't really favor the British at all, except for she's British. But as the Outlander, the Sassenach, but the most British in the show are not looked on with favor. And well, that's how Scottish people would see it, Can't blame them, really. Yeah. It was their country. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I trace my family tree and I'm basically 100% Scottish when it comes to, Scottish on my mum's side and my father's side. I've always I've always felt more connected to Scotland anyway. I think John Lennon actually felt the same. It's just a more beautiful. There's beautiful parts of England, of course, but it kind of, there's something about Scotland that is timeless. That feels it hasn't been touched by the hands of, profit. It's like we keep saying, people put a dollar sign or a pound sign on everything, and it's certainly the case in England. But with Scotland, they seem to be more kind of relaxed about it, and that's just how I feel about it, though.
Yeah.
I do not like the way they treated Harry, but that is my opinion. Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, Hogwarts were terrible when Harry was there. It was just terrible. Oh, you mean Prince Harry? Sorry, I thought you meant Harry Potter. Yeah, well, I mean, I was proud of Prince Harry. I was proud of him because myself personally, purely because the way they treated his mum, and she became a pariah, and she became a pariah in the media, and a lot of that was fed by the royal family's sort of media relations and stuff. Things were getting out that shouldn't have got out, and it was fed by the royal family, and she was made a pariah. And when Harry found out about that, when he was able to uncover that, he had a real disconnect from the family. These people who he looked up to and he loved, he realised he didn't know them as well as he had known them, and he felt a lot for his mother, and he wasn't gonna be controlled by them the way she was. So if he's happy and he's living his life, and that means he's living in America with an American, who's mixed race, good for him. As long as he's happy, God knows he's earned it. That's just the way I look at it.
And I think that it has to change. As much as we love.
Sorry, I keep knocking my nose there. Yeah, it has to change. Yeah, I think I agree completely. I think. Sorry, I just.
Oh, it's all right. I've got itchy nose from Coco.
I'm not
to blame her, but.
I think that's where I'm getting it from as well. I think it's coming through the. It's coming through the sort of the computer screen, I think, and getting to me as well. But I agree, Amy. I think the royal family has to change. I think there has to be a catalyst for it. I think they have to abandon a lot of things now, and they have to embrace change and see it as a good thing. Just like anything, you have to kind of progress with the times and stuff.
Did you see in what country was it? I can't remember what recently where they elected some guy that looks like and acts like 45. Frump. I call him Frump because I can't say his name, or I just shouldn't. And it's like that's kind of how I felt when you guys elected Boris Johnson. I thought, wow, you just elected another one in another country, and it's that same energy. And I remember saying that this is going to repeat. It's going to happen in other countries. And I felt Modi in India was like another Frump type of figure. And it's just weird that narcissistic figure keeps appearing. We're getting them out. We're trying to get them out of here. And then other places are like, yeah, we want to go through this too. Like, why would you want to go through that? It's, ridiculous.
Well, I mean, Boris Johnson was subservient to Trump as well. And it was clear that he was, for want of a better term, he was going to kiss his...
Oh, it's Argentina, isn't it? It's Argentina.
Yeah.
Why would they want, why would they want a racist, like, I don't know how it happens. I don't know.
But what really, I mean, right, I don't want to make this about Liverpool every week, Amy, but Boris Johnson said some terrible things about Liverpool. And if it wasn't racist, it was certainly antisocial, and he should have been investigated by the police for what he said. He hates Liverpool, and it was kind of. I know a lot of people in Liverpool felt that. Obviously, this is an overreaction, but it was, and obviously, in the end, it kind of, it wasn't justified. But at the time, it felt like Jewish people must have felt when the Nazi Party came to power, because he made it clear that he wasn't gonna offer Liverpool any deals in any way, and we needed financial. We needed help financially. We needed help with the NHS and stuff, and we needed various things. I mean, Liverpool won the Capital of Culture in 2008, European Capital of Culture, which brought in something like $2 billion into the city. And Boris Johnson came in and he said, right, well, 1.5 of that $2 billion has got to go on tax, which is ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
And the city, the city went against it. They said, no, it's charitable donations people are giving to the city. It's not, people, we're not trading with people and getting money that way. It's not like a surplus of $2 billion. It's people have invested this. And he said, no, he said it's got, and then he made his famous speech about Liverpool. He said, I'm sick of Liverpool. He said, I'm sick of Liverpool. He said, all they did was moan. He said, all they did was, which is not true at all. We do speak up for ourselves, and if someone backs us into a corner, it's the wrong thing to do. the famous saying, but when he eventually left, was pushed.
Yeah.
The front of the Liverpool Echo had, "Sorry, Boris, but when you picked on Liverpool, you picked on the wrong city," which is true, because Liverpool influenced other cities. But I mean, what he said was, and I don't want to give it too much spotlight, but basically he said, "Oh yeah, Liverpool, they were bombed. It's terrible what happened to Liverpool. They were bombed in the Blitz and they lost 96 football supporters and John Lennon was shot and all this and that." He said, "If that was any other city," he said, "they would have moved on by now and they would have forgot about it. But we will never forget when bad things have happened to the city, because we will never let it happen again." Sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm at a Black Panther meeting there for Scousers, but that's the way it was. Well, I despise Johnson, is what I'm trying to say. Although I look a bit like him at the minute with me hair. I'll have to
no.
to get that cut.
You don't have the his hair. Dude, what is your hair's not doing that? What is with that hair, like Trump's hair, and then this new guy, and it's Argentina, I believe. I don't know what's up with that. That must be the look of. Maybe we had it wrong. The devil doesn't have horns. He has like. Whatever the hell it is.
Probably, yeah.
Who knows? I'm just joking. But
or maybe his horns are hidden under a wig, and that's why it was so bouffanted. I kind of I picked up my feelings that Trump was not good way before he became president. He was bad news, of course, and people knew that. People knew that, and well, I shouldn't say it, Amy. You're American. If anything to be said about that, but
I knew it.
Kind of.
I tried to warn people. I was all over the place trying to warn people, and no one would listen. And in fact, the more that you tried to tell people, the more that they would turn and go, "No, I'm really going to vote for him." And it's like, oh God, you just try to talk logic, and so yeah, it's hard.
But the thing that annoys me is, this is purely from a British point of view, looking at it, is, and I really don't have any right to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Yeah, but is that Trump to me it appears to me Trump hates the people who put him in power. The working class Republicans who can't afford to stay at his hotels and play at his casinos and go on his golf tours and stuff. How can you be a Republican and be working class? That to me is like a kind of is motivating factor. You've got to earn more money and profit and stuff like that. And yet these people who may identify with him on kind of certain levels are not like him at all. And I would have thought that sort of person would have got more kind of positivity from Hillary Clinton and people like that. But you can't predict these things. I suppose there's people who were determined to put him where he ended up eventually, wasn't there?
It's just well, when I saw that he was before he officially ran in 2016, he had this whole thing where he went all over the place saying that Obama was not a citizen. We talked about this, and the whole birth certificate, and then Obama's like, "Here's my birth certificate," and he's like, "It's not real, it's not." So all the stuff that he did, and went on talk shows and over, and that really put me off. I'm like, I really don't like this guy. He's just a big jerk, and he's a racist, and he's a jerk. And then when I saw that he was aligned with Putin from Russia, then I thought, yeah, that's not good, because Putin was having people thrown out windows because they were gay and anti-gay, and he had an anti-gay agenda and anti-women, and I just thought, there you go. He's aligning with this guy, and it's very Hitlerish. And I kept getting the word Hitler, and I told people, "Wow, I'm getting Hitler about this guy." "Oh, yeah, I can't believe you're," and I tried. Yeah. I did try to tell everyone, and yeah.
Well, I mean, he did have in his historical timeline, in his bloodline. In fact, he did have members of the Nazi Party, didn't he? Is aligned to his family. It stands to reason he's influenced by the same motivating factors. I'm really sorry about my nose. Hang on a second.
It's all right.
I don't mean the size of it, which is aquiline, but I apologise for that as well. But it's I don't really. You can see it.
Me, I'll go. This must be an Irish or like a British. I don't know what it is, but if I eat basically if I eat. You know when you go to a restaurant and then your nose starts to run, but like you take 3 bites, you're like, what? Why? Every time. And then I can't eat because I can't breathe. Or if I go out and the air is cold, my nose runs and my eyes water. And I don't know. It's like a weird thing that British, Irish people or whoever must have. It's a strange affliction.
Yeah. I went out with a girlfriend whose dad ran an Indian restaurant once, and I had laryngitis and a blocked nose. And he said, I've got just the thing for you. Because I had to be on stage. Sorry. I keep dropping the hint about like me and my acting. I don't mean to do that. But yeah, and he said, I've got just the thing for you. And he gave me like a really hot Vindaloo.
Oh, wow.
He said, this will get rid of you. This, which is completely false. That doesn't happen at all. But people a Vindaloo with anything would just expand your blood cells and it'd make it even more blocked up. And I don't want to be horrible, but the result, it was like a mucal tsunami coming out of my nose. So then I couldn't do the performance anyway because I couldn't stop my nose from running. Yeah. Sorry, that's really horrible, isn't it, Amy? but there you go.
Here's a magical story. Well, I like Indian food, but it can be way too hot, and I think we all know that. In fact, well, anyway, that probably is a good way to get rid of a virus if you eat all the spices, and there's probably a cure in there somewhere. One time when I was not feeling so great, and it was in my bad situation, and I was really, 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 really stressed, and we talked about my thyroid and all that stuff, and I really wasn't doing well. And my daughter wanted to go to like a Chinese grocery store, and we have some around here, and so we went to this Chinese grocery store, and I stopped in front of the shelf, and it had this tea that had all this Chinese script, and something said, buy this. So I bought it, and it was like these ancient herbs. They were stinky and disgusting. And what I got was whatever my spirit guides or whatever, like wanted me to drink this as to heal me. So I did, and it stunk, but it did. It actually like healed me. I don't know why, but and every time when we've ever gone back there, I've never seen that tea on the shelf ever again. Is the weirdest thing. I've never found it ever again. But,
that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe it only works once in a lifetime. That kind of
maybe.
Like the ancient, if you like the cure to Jekyll and Hyde. If you cure yourself, you can't go back. That kind of. There you go. Well, that's interesting. Also, they say, don't they, like the worst something tastes or smells. It's normally the better for you. They ought to work on that. Really. Do you think they would have figured that one out? Yeah. Any friend of Putin is bad news.
True. Well,
I agree.
It's bad news for them because they all end up outside of a window or poisoned or whatever for entertainment purposes only.
Do you think Putin somewhere down the line is? Do you think Putin somewhere down the line is related to Rasputin?
Probably.
Sorry, that was a ridiculous thing. I'd like Putin a lot more if he danced the cars with Chuck with some gay people. That would. Which I don't think that is going to happen now, being perfectly honest.
Yeah. It would be great if anybody could change and become like Ebenezer Scrooge. That's why I love A Christmas Carol, because he has the ultimate change in character, but these people don't seem to change, unfortunately, like that.
Yeah, that's it. Have you seen it? I don't think you have, but there's Blackadder's Christmas Carol.
No, I haven't seen that. I should watch it.
I won't spoil it for you, but it's the reverse of A Christmas Carol. So Blackadder is a notorious horrible person throughout history. He's like, he's despiteful. But in this one, Ebenezer Scrooge is really nice to people at Christmas, and he's buying them things, and it shows you how he became disillusioned with Christmas at the end, and he ends up like the reverse Scrooge. It's really recommend it. It's really good.
By the way, I saw a still for the new Willy Wonka movie, and Rowan Atkinson is in there. I don't know if he's Slugworth. He might be Slugworth. I'm not sure. He's one of the people. He probably is. But anyway, so he's in a new movie.
Hugh Grant is one of the Oompa Loompas. That looks.
Oh gosh.
Did you know that he's actually? Well, I mean, it's his face CGI'd onto a small orange skin, green hair Oompa Loompa. Which that's casting against type, I think. But it's interesting that they're making it a prequel to the Gene Wilder one and not the Johnny Depp one.
I don't like the Johnny Depp one. It's annoying.
No, neither do I. I didn't. I was willing to give it its chance, but then Tim Burton and Johnny Depp came out saying people seem to love the Gene Wilder version, but I hate it. And
wow.
Tim Burton does that a lot. He sort of makes a big point about, like, I like films. I grew up watching films that no one likes, certain horror films and stuff. And then all his films are remakes anyway, so he gets assigned to remakes, and he seems to badmouth the ones that went before. And, I never liked the Sweeney Todd musical on stage, but I had the ambition to make the film. Ridiculous if it doesn't work on... Oh, is your door just open there, Amy?
Say that again?
Your door just opened for a sec. Was that a door behind you, yeah?
No.
That's just open.
No.
Right. Well, something moved in the background there. Oof.
Weird. Okay.
Kind of spooky, yeah. Yeah. So I just thought to mention it.
Oh, strange.
It could be someone from the CIA. Just be very careful.
Well, let's see.
It's all right. Yeah. It's me they're after. Don't worry about it. Although the CIA probably think we're in the same room. The CIA, they haven't caught up with this computer business of talking on two continents yet.
Well, I was going to say about the Willy Wonka and others. What's missing in the new ones is a sense of humor, and they just don't capture that anymore. Even things like Superman, the movies that they remake are just way too serious, and they don't have that sense of humor. There was something so, like, even as a child of watching all of that stuff, we got it. We got the humor. It didn't go past us at all. Even like Muppet movies, the Muppets. They had a really good sense of humor that was almost what you would call adult sarcasm. I got it. I figured it out when I was a kid, So I hate it when they take it out and make everything too serious or too stupid. Like we're, Uh-oh, yeah, maybe the CIA did. You're slowing down. They got us. Or is it Tim Burton got us? Uh-oh.
I think
it slowed down. You're glitching. It'll catch up in a moment. No. What's it doing? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Huh. You back? It should let you back on. You back?
I don't know whether you can still see. Oh, hello. I'm back.
I can hear you.
You're not there yet, Amy.
I'm not? Okay. I'll leave and come back. Let's see. How do I just...
Well, I appear to be on my own. I don't know whether you can see me. So I'll fly solo for a bit. Would you like me to tell you a joke? Right, okay. This man goes into a hospital and he says, "Hello, I'd like an operation, please, to make my penis touch the floor." Yeah, so the doctor amputated his legs. Oh, well, Amy doesn't appear to be here, so I will leave now, and I'll speak to Amy and find out what's happened, okay? So farewell, all you viewers, if you're still there. Oh, she might be back in a second.
Am I here? Am I here? Can you hear me?
Back?
Can you hear me? No?
We now have a brief pause whilst Amy consults the CIA on her doorstep and tells them to get out of Kansas.
It says having issues.
Yes.
We're having issues with this.
Are you there, Amy?
I'm here. I'm here. But it just won't let me.
Ah, you're back.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
You're back. Was I still here when you were gone? Oh,
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Oh,
All
yeah.
right. So weird. Well, here we are. Was there anything that you wanted to say before we, I know we didn't get to everything. Now you're frozen. What's going on? Fatima can hear us. Huh. Maybe it's the internet thing. Internet, what's wrong with you? It says it's connected, but it's low internet. Huh. Could it be my internet? Is it? It says that I got it. I don't know. What about this internet? Are you still here? Well, anyway, I hear you. I hear you. Maybe we'll have to close it down.
Very well. I
think I have internet on here. How many bars do I have on here? It says I've got. Well, maybe we'll shut it down and we'll come back some other time. As we do, we'll be back. Can you hear me? You're freezing up a lot. It must just be the internet, don't you think? It's too bad. So we'll shut it down. I'll say goodbye from my end. And Fatima, thanks for being here. And anyone else who lurked, thanks for being here. We'll see you on the replay, and we'll come back. We'll be back some other time. Talk to you later. Bye. Peace and love. Let's see.